Mr. Hirschberg?
He's on mute.
I can hear you now. Good morning. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, yes. We're gonna just turn this up a little bit so we can think of it. All right. So, all right, Mr. Hirschberg, this is Barbara Baldwin. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
Good morning. We are going to address your issues with the hearing that was heard on May 7th.
Correct.
And I'm just going to give the board a little bit of a background, and then I will let you have the floor, and you can provide details as you need to. So this request from Mr. Hirschberg is to request is a rehear for parcel ID number 606D12. The timely filed under appeal for tax year 2024. Hearing was scheduled and heard May 7th. Mr. Hirschberg is a property owner reps and states that he did not receive prior notice of the hearing date and time. The hearing did proceed, but he is asking for it to be reheard because he did not receive prior notice. I was able to reach out to Ms. Joy Brown, and she provided the letter that went out to Mr. Hirschberg, but Mr. Hirschberg has also provided an affidavit that is included in my material, stating prior notice. He's the representative, yep, he's the property rep. Mr. Hirschberg?
Yes, good morning.
Yes.
Sure, no, it's exactly as stated. We're the property owner representative. We filed the appeal on behalf of the taxpayer. We never received notice. I haven't seen a copy of the letter that you just referred to. If you could forward that to me, I'd greatly appreciate it. But I assure you it's the first time we would have received the letter. Obviously, without notice. We weren't able to provide evidence of value, and no substantive evidence was presented. We'd simply like the opportunity to reschedule the meeting. The opposing counsel has consented, or at least not objected to any rehearing, at least on behalf of the school district. So we'd like the opportunity merely to be heard again.
And I'd like to add to that, Jake Leland from the school district did not oppose. He sent an email and said he did not oppose for this hearing to be rescheduled.
If I may add also, I spoke with a number of other practitioners, including Nicole Amick, who did not receive hearing notices for that day. I'm not certain if there was simply a administrative breakdown. That's what I would suggest. This was a broad administrative breakdown of the system, which is the statutory trigger to have a rehearing.
Thank you. Okay. Any questions from the board?
Marshall, motion to approve administrative breakdown for parcel ID 606D12.
Second. All in favor? Any opposed? So moved.
So Mr. Hirschberg, I will work with Ms. Brown to see that hearing gets rescheduled.
Excellent. Thank you all, and I appreciate your time. Have a great morning.
Thank you. Anybody else? Public comment?
Let me see, is there someone on the screen?
That was it, but we can check and see if there's others. Looks like we have.
That's it.
That's it. Okay. All right, moving on. Solicitor report. Sure.
Good morning. I have no official action today. I just have a few things to update the board about. One is, we've been doing appeals now for about 3 weeks, maybe 4 weeks. We've heard 53% of the residentials that have been filed, so that's really great. So I just wanted to let you guys know that in a month, we've heard 53% of the appeals. 44% overall. But so things are moving and moving well, and that's all good. So in that vein, we have two technology updates to announce to the board. One is the CLR field is now available in IAS, so that should help with the processing. If you notice today, you only have 141 appeals heading to disposition. That's because we were only processing the no value changes, waiting for that field to be added. So that field is now added and it's live and is being used. So that's great. And the other thing is the board has heard me talk about a status called O2B, which will allow you guys to all review your files remotely. That status is also live. I'm going to do some beta testing of that over the weekend and hopefully get a procedure in place so that you guys can help test it out. So turn on your county computers, let them update, because it'll take a week for them to update if you haven't turned them on recently. And let them update themselves for a week, because they'll sit there and churn and get ready, because it'll be useful.
Do we not need paper anymore at the hearing?
This would be paper, this would make everything paperless,
Good.
which is great.
Yeah.
It's moving forward into technology.
That includes the suspension type of paperwork that needs to be completed if there's a suspension involved.
Out those little minor details, because I don't know how we're gonna, we'll work with OPA to work those out. We might still need those because we're going interdepartmental.
But the hearing officer report is the main.
Yes, yes, and the hearing officer notes will no longer need to be printed because you'll have immediate access. The other update is, I'm sure you all know, County Council has issued a ordinance to move to prospective assessment, which is wonderful. I'm excited about that. I thought we should have been prospective in 2012. So everybody's heard me say that. This is nothing new. I'm very excited about it. So that's about all I have to share.
I have it on the agenda. I would like a sense of the board or a resolution where the chairman sends a letter to council saying we support the bill. Everyone has read it, right? I sent it to everybody. There will be an amendment. There has to be a 60-day filing period. And here's what it would look like just for this year. August 1st, we're going to need 25 appeal forms online. And I suggest we hit the ground running with the city appeals. You know, this will be the first go-round with the prospective calendar, but if we get those cities, remember I was complaining last December about the city, if we can get them quickly, there won't be any refunds or additional tax bills by the city if we can get them out of the way first. So that's it.
Well, this should make, going prospective means everyone can set their budgets. Taxpayers can set their budgets, your municipalities can set their budgets. Everybody has now a known tax base. Compared to what we've done is we've sort of guessed. And have to issue refunds or have to issue additional tax bills. So this is a really good thing.
Yeah, I think we have a multi-million-dollar reduction today. We're going to approve, and that they didn't budget for that. We're sending them a disposition, and now they have to issue refunds. The problem with the present calendar always has been, and we've talked, retroactive. People can't stand that. It's hard for a property owner or a taxi body to have some stability in the process. So buckle up is what I'm saying. In the fall, we're going to be having hearings for tax year 2020. And we would apply the new ratio 52.7, Commissioner.
Yes, new ratio.
And see, we can just plug it in our new system. But that's all I have to say. So that's not on the agenda. Is that all right that we have a sense that we're all in agreement that, let me just tell you, there are 4 co-sponsors, I believe, that will pass. And if they
Great
hear
idea.
from us saying, yeah, we're up for this.
It's a great idea.
Everybody okay with that?
Lou has a question.
So filing deadline for 25 would be October 31st of this year.
Say that again?
The filing deadline for 2025 would be October 31st.
I said
October
first.
1st.
Yeah.
Okay. So you're still required to give 30 days notice, appeal to all parties. We'll put you into November. If you run into the holiday season factor, no matter what, that you can't change. County council can't change the holidays. And so, depending on the volume of appeals, you're not going to get done. You're not going to achieve what you're trying to achieve completely. You put it that
We
way.
rarely do.
I think.
I mean, I don't disagree with the idea. I'm just saying that timing isn't practical. Is it logical? Yeah. Is it practical? Not as
The
much.
30-day notice is our role, isn't it?
Well, we give property owners, it's 21 days for residential, their hearing days, so they can prepare. And it's 30 days for commercial.
I'm not saying we should change it.
You know,
Maybe
the
we
only-
should look at that.
I
because-
think that the volume, if I can speak to what, I think the volume of appeals will be low. Just because it's so quickly on the heels of 2024, I think the universe of people who would be filing appeals is small. So I think it could be, fingers crossed, if we get 3,000 appeals, you might be able to bat them out in November and December.
Is that fair to the public in terms of, if they had March or April 1st deadline, and then coming right after that? to have that
Yeah.
additional deadline?
Well, yeah, if they
It
want to.
won't be retroactive.
And then they will have their tax set for 25. And then there will be another tax window for 25 for 26.
Right, but I'm saying this shift year.
I think it's, I think, I
For
don't
the
think it's
public,
unfair.
for the public to be made aware, they need to act
I
quickly.
don't know what we can do, but.
When everyone else is saying, you know, when we're all set, thinking, oh, it's March, April timeframe. I'm just wondering if what we can do.
Here's a suggestion. The
Mine is to
OTA.
move it up a month.
OPA, from this point on, shouldn't say you can't appeal now, you have to wait till next year. We've been saying that for 50 years, whatever. We don't say that. We just say there's something on the horizon. I don't know, we come up with the wording because it would start there because people
That's
are
what I'm
calling
saying.
in saying, I
That's what I'm
want to
saying.
appeal now.
That's all I'm
You
saying.
can't appeal now, you have to wait till next, isn't that what we've always said?
The appeal window is closed.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm
Now,
just saying, I think
fine.
this first year is gonna be a bit of a transition in adjusting. And
I
then
agree.
November's gonna come, you're gonna be saying, you know, I'll file in March, and that's my month for this first year.
I think that's an education piece, and I think, you know, we can certainly try to educate the best we can.
You know, perhaps maybe some leniency
In Kent County.
when we get these calls.
We can't, that's jurisdictional, so you can't,
Deadline.
the deadline is the deadline once it's set. So that's the problem with that, but I'm gonna assume most people who would appeal for 25 would probably appeal for 24. Again, I'm thinking the window is gonna, with the low CLR, your school district appeals are gonna be limited significantly. And your school district appeals are only gonna be looking at the window of January 1 to, you know, probably August 1 would be their cutoff for sales. We all know that sales have decreased because interest rates have increased. So we're not at a glut of sales. I don't know, it might be the perfect time to do it because you're gonna impact the least amount. Does the board want to have a consensus so that Mr. Hardesty can send a letter to county council? Everybody comes.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Good?
Maybe we can also add something to the website to address, because I don't have sense or
I agree. We have to wait for it to pass. Because the thing about making sausage, right, you ever heard that? The legislative process, we waited for the Y appeals, how long, right?
Is it currently scheduled for, being approved?
Well, here's how it works in the county council. Mr. DeMarco, Councilor DeMarco put it up there. It was sent to committee, the Assessment Practices Committee.
Right.
And I don't know when, they haven't scheduled yet, but let's say in 2 weeks, they meet and the counselors all ask questions like, how would this work? You know, all that. Then the committee votes to send it to full council that second time. So it could take 30 days. But we have to, all of us, OPA and BPAAR, have to be prepared. Once they pass it, this is May, we're going into June, July, right? So, but if they pass it, we follow them down. And one last thing, we are doing what 66 other counties do with this law. We were the only county that had what I call tax year appeals. You have an appeal the same year you pay taxes. People in the city pay taxes this year, and they're either going to get a refund or they're not. They're going to get a second set of tax bills. So we've been lobbying for years.
This is a great change. I mean, it's monumental.
It's a game changer.
Really, it's huge. And
I talked to somebody from the county treasurer's office yesterday. He said, thank you, the council members and everything. He said, you realize what we have to go through to refund or send out a second tax bill? This will eliminate all of that. If we get them done on them. You know, this will be the first go around. I'm sure there'll be some mistakes, but we all agree to do it. Get the word out. You're right.
education is huge. Education. And even towards a revow, education is huge. You know, public is going to be educated. How do you educate the public?
I was just thinking of, ways to try to get that information out there, because I know that the 2020Y, the opening of 2020Y, there's so many people that called and said they weren't aware of this, that, and another. But I was thinking with working with the marketing team, I don't know if the county has social media, that type of thing, to kind of push it out there, like, new tax, year or something like that. So
There's
just
still
put
gonna
it
have
out
people
there.
that don't.
There's still people who live under rocks and don't know.
And they can go to a judge, non-pro-tunc, and ask for it. I was told by the county, and.
It was just passed in July.
Yeah.
The deadline's in 2 months and what's
Yeah.
gonna happen?
Right, but if they don't do it now,
It's passed in July. We only have 2 months to make a decision. That's gonna be tough.
one last thing, Amy, you might remember this, the 2012 reassessment, BPAAR had appeals in 2012 for tax year 2013.
That's correct. We were going to do it.
Guess what council decided to do in 2013? Have tax appeals
For 2013.
for 2013. And that was like a ratchet. So,
Right. Now, back then, there were 117,000 appeals, which we didn't finish until February of
yeah,
the following year, because it was just, the volume was insane.
your assessment is a whole,
But,
But we did finish them
yeah,
pretty timely.
this will prepare us for
a lot of
reassessment.
boxes.
Still a lot of paper. That's a good thing. It's a really good thing.
All right, let's move on.
That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Appeals Department, Ms. Brown, are you there?
Good morning. Can you hear me?
Dan?
Okay. So again, you all have the appeals report from tax year 2020 through and including tax year 2024. We are continuing to schedule now commercial hearings. We are up to June 25th. And once we conclude the month of June with commercial hearings being scheduled, we will jump back in July, having residential hearings scheduled starting July 1st, and continue until we can get everything scheduled.
Great.
Good.
Anything else?
That's all I have.
Good news is good news.
All right.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I would like to raise to the board, the scheduling for commercial for the month of June. We have a number of, our pool of commercial hearing officers is small. So we are faced with administratively postponing commercial hearings if we don't have the support of commercial hearing officers for June. We had Pete Colzer, John Sasansky, and Tom Corfield that said they're not available for June just because of that. They help support residential hearings and feel that it's way too much for them to keep up with in terms of the rapid pace. They're getting it done, but these are the comments that have been expressed to me, that it is a rapid pace. Pete Colzer is saying it's not good for his health. Tom Corfield and has expressed, the same. They've actually taken themselves off the schedule for the month of June.
Okay. How many does that leave us with?
We have some folks that came back, Elaine Kirsch and Mike McAndrews. We have a couple board members that have been trained up that will be able to help, but we also have Bill Woods here. Mr. Woods here says that he is available to support, every day except for the May 17th, but he too. June 17th. But he too has expressed that, with 3 per hour, it's, too much to keep up on the commercial side. He's here to speak for himself and said that he will probably remove himself.
I have this on the agenda. If I may just jump to new business B and just get to it. You mentioned Pete Colzer and John. So I called John because I've known him many years, long time. And what's the problem? And I talked to a number of the hearing officers. Commercial, they're right. 3 per hour is too much. I talked to you originally about this, and I'd like a sense of this committee to just roll it back to 2. I'll tell you why. I asked.
We have no problem with that.
Okay. Well, I asked John and Pete, if we go back to 2 per hour, would you come back? And they both said yes. Let's do that.
But what does that mean for us now with the schedule as it is and letters have already gone out?
Well, here's the thing. When they said they didn't want to do it, I said, put me on for 2 weeks. I don't want to do 2 weeks. I can give some of that to the people who said if they could do it. Did you schedule 3 per hour?
Yeah, I don't schedule.
Well, let me ask this question from a procedural standpoint. Could you bring on, and I get that there's going to be, and this might be a little bit more of an administrative task, but if you scheduled 3 per hour, can you just shift the hearing, add another hearing officer and let them pick up one of them?
Like we do with residents?
Yeah, like just add a commercial flow.
I can do that. And if we have the number of people and availability to do that, we don't even have that consistently with residential.
And I guess I just meant for the month of June, so we don't have to administratively.
We already have Pete and John saying yes to June.
So if we could get them back.
They say to 2, but as a floater, just have them come in.
Yeah, I just talked to Pete yesterday.
Work it out?
For him.
No, he said yes.
And I talked to him yesterday. He said, no, I just want to take, because first of all, he's moving his practice. He told me yesterday, literally, face to face, that he's not going to be available for June.
Okay.
So, but we have Elaine Kirsch, Mike Andrews, we have Ben Usual, Mr. Woods. We still have a number of people that we could put on the schedule. Is it going to be enough? I'm just making you all aware of it.
So it's workable, you're saying?
It's workable.
A floater?
If you added it, again, what I'm basically saying is adding an extra hearing officer just to pick it up during that time.
Yeah.
And then in the future, moving to 30 minutes.
You don't have that luxury. You don't have that luxury. You're going to get, work the commercial hearing officers. And as I said to Barbara, I will try it. But if it doesn't work, I'm done. It's that simple.
I'm sorry, you tried what?
I will try whatever method, I was even willing to try this 20 minutes, which I thought was outrageous. But if we go to 30, I'll still try it. But I mean, if it gets to be too much, I don't know. If you've never sat in some of these hearings, then you don't know what's going on these things. And some of these things just keep going on and on and on. And I'm basically opposed to telling somebody your time is up. That's not going to happen.
You have to control the meeting.
I can control the meeting, but I'm not going to tell somebody your time is up. That's it. you know, so, but I know I talked to the other hearing officers. I thought Pete was coming back on board, though. I thought Pete said he may.
Something changed.
But then again, I talked to Pete again, and Pete was kind of back and forth. I haven't talked to John. I know, McConnell is okay, he's on board. Elaine Kirsch and the other guy, I don't know who they are. I mean, I don't know Elaine, that's who this other guy is, he was there once before, like, so I don't know what his credentials are.
We have Tom Cornelius too.
Yeah, Tom Cornelius.
And I will say that
Tom
it's.
Tom said the same thing, though. Tom said, at first said, I'm out of here, that's it. So you gotta kind of reel him back in also.
We're in agreement on 2 per hour.
I'm just talking about from an administrative standpoint, maybe we could just add a hearing officer or two,
I agree.
rather than administratively postpone.
If we had the
I agree.
luxury of doing that.
Otherwise, we have to administratively postpone.
Yes, exactly, that's it. I just wanted to make you guys aware of it, because
We did that on the
I think the board has to understand the in-depth analysis that can go into a commercial appeal. Right? You're looking a lot, very often you're looking at an appraisal that's 60, 70 pages. You're looking at attorneys cross-examining appraisals, which is okay. So you just can't stop them. I mean, just, you know, it goes on until it's done. It's not a question of controlling the time. It's a question of the in-depth analysis that's involved in some of these appraisals. Not all of them, but some. And so that's part of it. And
That again is another good reason to have a photo around.
yeah,
To take.
but, and then you have to evaluate the evidence. You have to write your report, your analysis for the board to react to. And it's, you know, it takes time. I mean, forever, I would be doing hearings, throwing the files on the floor after the hearing, and then during the lunch hour, I'd be writing the reports on the files, just to keep up. So, and then you have attorneys going into other rooms, and then hearing officers coming in from other rooms. When he's done with his attorney, I need to come right here. So that is compounded.
I can see how a commercial hearing could go an hour.
Oh, easily, yeah.
Easily.
Yeah.
I've been there. In the 90s, I heard commercial appeals. I remember one lasted 2.5 hours. One appeal. It's just,
Anyway.
it's different. It's a different animal when we hear you, all of us, right? So we're gonna work with you.
I can tell you that the exclusion of Lane and the other guy, Mike, you've got some good commercial hearing officers here. I mean, really good commercial hearing officers here. So whatever can be worked with them and still meet the requirements, you know, I think that should be the objective.
What are your thoughts about how much time each hearing should be?
Yeah, I would say try the 30. You know, again, I thought 20 was way too small. Try the 20 or 30. If it doesn't work out, then go to plan B. If you have a plan B, if you don't have a plan B, devise one.
Also should have some administrative oversight, because there's a big difference in doing US Steel and doing the corner candy shop.
Right.
We do that in scheduling?
They do that.
They should.
Big high values get more time slot. They get like 3 time slots,
I
right?
think that's good.
So they do build in the value.
The other conflict that has occurred many times is when residential commercial are scheduled in the same day. Residential is 20 minutes, commercial is 30 minutes, and we have conflict with attorneys where they're in multiple hearings, but the timing is not, it doesn't coincide. So that was one of the advantages of having only commercial one day and then residential one day and not mixing, but that's
Is
something
this
else.
the first time we would ever have a floater for commercial hearings? Or if we got
That's in my recollection, yes.
That's plan B.
I know, you know, if you know, I know that even with the residential, you know, the time slots you say, but when you call these attorneys' offices, and I can tell you one for sure, and I can guarantee one thing, you'll be listening to the same music I listen to. Because when I go in and all of a sudden they put me on this music thing, and I'm sitting there for maybe 2-3 minutes waiting for this guy to get on the line. You know, this music isn't even suitable for an elevator. It's terrible, you know, but they keep it going, you know, and then you get done with that attorney, And he's on maybe a case, two more cases. You gotta call him back again, and here comes that music again. God forbid, here it is. But yeah, so that's what takes a lot of time too, trying to get the attorney. And like Lou said, if this attorney's busy with somebody else, you're put behind until he gets done with that person.
We understand.
We're hearing some of the same complaints also for residential, that the
Okay.
attorneys don't show up. And then what happens is, later on in the day, Howard comes up and says, now we have to hear the hearing all over again. And these folks are getting frustrated. And so, I just wanted to bring it to your attention that they're saying, hey, if they don't show, and hearing is over, why are we being forced?
I agree.
2 hours later to redo the hearing, or 3 hours later? It's throwing our schedule out of whack. And so I wanted to bring it to the board's attention that there's some rumbling out.
Show up, right? Is that what you're saying?
You know what I'm saying? Yes.
The biggest one is Nicole.
Right.
For the hearing.
Right, they're not.
Somehow or another, she just gets cut off.
Careful.
Okay.
Public
Yeah,
meeting.
please,
Public
no.
meeting.
Well, one, because she gets cut off, and her name doesn't appear that she's gonna attend the hearing. So, I mean, and then you get a call saying, you missed that person. So, I think it's gonna happen to get better.
Yeah, and just so
control.
everyone knows, I know I talked to OTA and BPAAR just because I hear feedback and like I have some ideas for next year and maybe we can't roll it out for 2025 because we're gonna be doing 2025 quick. And maybe we can roll it out for 2026 because there are problems with phone numbers. Like how do we make that better? How do we know that a property owner is gonna appear to a school district appeal or a school district is gonna appear? There's ideas out there, there's things that other court systems do that we might be able to implement, but we don't want to do it midstream.
No.
So, I mean, I guess what I'm saying is like, I'm hearing complaints and I'm making notes and I'm like, okay, let's all come together later and brainstorm so that we can make it better.
Sure.
So just that you all know, we have Ken Husky, Colzer, Bill Woods, Tom Cornelius, John Szanski, Dave McConnell, Ben Usual, Elaine Hirsch, and Mike McAndrews. That's 9 commercial hearing officers. Some of them, I'm sorry?
And Mr. Sulia
Yes.
has
Commercial?
Yes.
You're gonna do commercial?
We have 2 board
Yes.
members. Yes. And some are saying that they only want like 2 days a week. So that pretty much, if we're going every day, that will take someone out of the rotation of having 5 people on consistently. We need folks that are available, pretty much, at least 3 or 4 people that's available.
I knew historically what we used to do was like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday were res and Thursday were commercials.
Yeah, to give some type of reprieve or.
Yeah, so like everybody knew that Thursdays was the commercial day, so you guys could be available on Thursdays.
I can talk about the schedule, like, going forward. I'm just concerned about scheduling for June. That's it. Given what I've heard feedback from commercial hearing officers. That's my only thing. You're hearing one thing, I'm hearing another from the commercial. So far, 3 of the people that, and those are hearing officers that's been around for a while. They're saying that, for June. Good.
All right, let's move along. Thank you.
Mr. Fargestein,
Yes.
I do have one question. So am I hearing the board say that for August, that you want to go back to 30 minutes for the hearings for commercial?
Yes.
Okay.
July.
No. Well, July, we have more residential scheduled, but once we start scheduling the commercial again, I just want to make sure I'm understanding that they're going back to 30 minutes.
Yes.
Okay,
Board is in agreement.
okay.
And
Thank you.
that's the base amount, correct, Lori? You guys will continue to shift that if it's a high dollar
Exactly,
commercial property.
exactly.
Thank you.
Mhm.
All right, Ms. Brown, you have anything further for us?
No, that would be it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Moving on to OPA, Ms. Brooks.
Hello, Wade.
Good morning.
Good morning. The only thing I wanted to touch on was the exemption letters.
Yeah, can you up your volume a little bit, please?
Can you hear me better now?
A little bit.
Okay, I wanted to touch on the exemption letters and see if there's an ETA for OPA codes.
Excuse me 1 second. Or can we get any more volume?
It's up as high as it will go.
Okay, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I wanted to discuss the exemption letters and ask, is there an ETA on when the Office of Property Assessments will receive those? We've been getting inquiries about the decisions for the exemption determination hearings.
I know that I'm responsible for those. I was tasked with that. That was part of what Mr. Montgomery did in doing obviously he performed work in terms of, adjudicating on the exemption, hearings that he did back in November. So we are talking about the exemption hearings that were done back in November, that now the letter part is now with me in terms of doing them. But I would like to have, the application information in front of me. I'm asked to create these letters, which they've been created, but at the same time, I struggle with the information that I need to put those letters out there. And there should have been some type of files. I know last meeting, I asked Ms. Shrimp, was there files that went with these letters? And as far as she was aware, they didn't leave her with anything. So if I can work with Michelle Conley to just get the applications of those the requesters who applied for those, I could have the address and everything on it, then I can work from that.
What are we looking at?
Okay.
Numbers at this point.
There-
What numbers?
How many?
20.
Hearing?
10, 15.
Yeah,
Okay.
quite a few. There was a subset of, I think some was approved in March and then again.
And Carolyn, are they in on base?
Yes,
should
they
be
are.
in on base.
What, the application?
Yes.
Other question, now that Mr. Montgomery's gone, he conducted the hearings. It sounds like he was on a different track than the rest of people. I don't know if I'm right or wrong about this process.
No,
No?
I just think,
Okay.
I think Mr. Montgomery was doing his letters just because there was just administratively, he had the opportunity to do them.
All right. But there are no exemption hearings scheduled?
No, there's nothing scheduled.
Okay.
We do.
You'll let us know.
Yeah, well, the board is gonna hear them now, so the board will have to work, we'll get some dates from the board when they wanna start to hear them, and OPA can schedule time.
Very good.
Let's put that on an accelerated schedule then, if we could, please. All right, anything else we can do for you, Ms. Brooks?
The other thing I wanted to touch on was if this ordinance pass, I'm assuming we will need to meet to get on the same page about how we would move forward.
Yes.
Okay. Just wanted to put that out there.
We'll talk.
Okay.
Always happy to meet with you.
Okay. That's all I have.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Items for consideration from our board administrator, Ms. Baldwin.
Yes. A was covered under public comments, Mr. Hirschberg.
Right.
B is a request to rehear for parcel ID 6, F as in Frank 203. This one is from Mr. Brad Yoder. He is submitting on behalf of his client, Ms. Sommer. She filed a timely tax appeal for 2022 and 2023. She did not receive notice of the telephone hearing, and she also indicated that she received a call that day, but she was traveling, so she was not able to participate. And stated the hearing officer indicated that the hearing would be rescheduled. So the hearing officer must inform Ms. Sommer that, if she didn't receive the notice, which they should have checked with either myself or Ms. Brown's department to see if a letter was sent out, but the hearing officer, indicated that her hearings for 2022 and 2023 will be, rescheduled. And so basically, he's just looking to, these are all owner appeals, no school district involved. So he's looking to have the 2022 and 2023 rescheduled with the timely file 2024. So he did file the 2024 here.
And that's exactly how we should do it. We should do them all together because they're carryover anyway. So really, we should make sure that we hear the 2022Y will carry over to 2023, which will carry over to 2024.
There's two owners involved too. There's a sale in 24. So the 24 hearing would involve a second owner, a new owner. Just when you're notifying, yeah, just.
It sounds like an administrative breakdown problem.
Okay,
Motion to request to rehear parcel 6F 203.
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So moved, thank you.
All right. And the second one is a request to include 2020. This is also a Brad Yoder one, but this happens to be a little bit more kind of a confusing, complicated one for me. It's similar where he says that his client, Zelsky, retained him, and they filed a timely tax appeal for 2022 and 2023, the second filing period. And he wasn't aware that his client didn't own the property in 2020 and 2022. They just purchased the property in January of 2023. So the previous owner was subject to a school district appeal in 2021, and they took it to the BPAAR.
Legal question. If this was done in January, apparently they had an agreement until prior to January, so does the buyer at that point still have a legal interest in the property?
They would have the right to file the
So it
claim.
doesn't matter whether they actually owned it or not.
Well, the problem is that the previous owners was subject to a school district appeal in 2021, and it was at BOV. So
What day was the stipulation?
I tried to look it up on the GSER. It did not, nothing came up in terms of, the step for the
Do you
2021.
agree that's important?
That's important because
Because if we don't know the date, we don't know.
if the stipulation came after
Right.
the appeal deadline for 2023,
It did, because it shows that it showed that it closed April 25th of 2024.
can we table it for more information?
Yes.
Thank you.
So we need a motion to table?
Motion to table.
Second.
All in favor? Opposed? So moved.
D is a request to rehear. This gentleman indicated that there was a hearing held. So his name was Mr. Isaac Supa. Property owner he was subject to a school district appeal that was scheduled and heard on May 13th of this year. He was not called for the hearing because his telephone information was not available for the hearing officer to contact him. He claims that there wasn't an insert inside of his, that accompanies the hearing notice that would advise him that he needed to call his information in, okay? So that's his story, and I told him that I would, take it before the board.
This is the parcel 997D39.
Right.
Okay. So what are we requesting?
A lot of things have happened by that.
I don't know about this. I need more.
From a legal perspective, if you heard that a whole batch didn't get stuffed, maybe, but do you think one didn't get stuffed and every other one got stuffed?
It's happened, but that kind of.
And he can appeal our decision. He has the right to appeal our decision if we deny it, don't forget.
I knew that we did not.
I'll second. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion's denied.
All right, next one is a request to rehear from Mr. Dulac. It's 49L87. This is timely filed school district appeal. Scheduled and heard May 10th, 2024. The property owner requesting to rehear. He was not phoned on the day of the hearing. He did not provide his number. Oh, he did provide his number on Friday, April 26th. But because this was a school district appeal and it was heard, I mean, this is an administrative breakdown. I think this was Lee Gallagher in his office. And I did send them notice to see if they opposed.
So that's a breakdown. All right. Then I move that we approve 49L87.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So moved.
And the next one I moved to, this wasn't no board action. I looked at it again. It was administrative breakdown as a property owner, no school district on that one.
So that's just informational to the board.
Right, so the letter was sent out, but it was addressed to the previous owners. It wasn't addressed to the current owner.
Okay.
We did look at the letter. But that's pretty much it. And the last one is Judith Ginyard, who actually called with regard to a couple of things. Apparently, she sits on the board of realtors, I guess, with the ramp, and she basically heard that there was an announcement made for, hearing officers, and being as though that she was a hearing officer, she too, wanted to know, the standing from her being a previous hearing officer, and also wanting to be reinstated as a hearing officer, wanting the board to look at her, her whole status as a hearing officer previously, and to request a reinstatement. She also is asking, for payment for the training that she attended April 12th of 2023, where she was paid one rate versus the rate that other hearing officers were paid. What I do know is that Judith wasn't extended the supplemental contract that all of the other hearing officers were extended to get the increased pay rate. She wasn't extended that. I know that because I inquired about the contract for her, and Aaron Nelson of the contracts department indicated she was told to leave Judith off the process of getting the contract. So, and just looking back in terms of 2023, she was advised by Mr.
I'm just gonna ask you to stop. We're getting into personnel.
Okay.
If you want to talk about it, let's talk about it in executive session.
I agree.
Okay.
I agree.
If we're gonna talk about payment, we can do that in the open, but when we're starting to get into other things, I'd like to.
Okay, do you want to do the payment and
Let's just stop the conversation and move it into, yeah.
All right. Anything else?
That's it for me, and I wanted to share with Cindy. I got a phone call from Cindy Sycheck-Berry, our residential hearing officer.
Same issue.
Same issue. Okay.
Take it into a second. Thank you.
All right, moving on. Board approval lists. We have 22Y first parcel 388J108. For 2023, first parcel 388J10. How is that possible?
They're
They're
both
both the
taxes.
same,
Yes.
just the way it fell, okay. And tax year 2024, first parcel 764G240. Board, what's your pleasure? You have a motion to,
Motion to approve the board approval list is read.
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Wait, I'm sorry, can we, yes, can we go for polls and accusals? Mr. Stipe?
None.
Ms. Bayonga?
None.
Ms. Montgomery?
None.
Ms. Lara?
None.
Mr. Sully? I have none. Again, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So moved. Moving on, old business, Tyler Technologies CLR field update.
Yes, is Carolyn Brooks still here? Carolyn?
I am here.
Hey, Carolyn, I promised you I would take this off of old business, Tyler Technologies, CLR field, OPA, blah, blah, blah. And thank you very much for all your efforts to get this through, Carolyn. So
Sure, I'll thank our IT team as well. They tried to work hard to get that in as fast as they could.
I do have a quick question.
Sure.
Is it something, why are you laughing? Because it won't be quick. One last thing, Carolyn. If I put a market value in there of $1 million, and we decide we want to put a percentage for the land building breakout, do we have the ability to do it now, or would we have the ability to do it in a month or so?
What was the second part of that?
Will we have the ability to do it? Forget the second part. I have a market value of $1 million.
Right. So you would put your market value in, the system would calculate what the CLR value would be, and then you would apply what portion you want to go to the land, and it would calculate the building.
Okay, now we're on the same page. Is there any way I can just put percentages in land, a percentage in for building like I did with the CLR? I'm just giving an example, 80-20. Would I have the ability to do that rather than doing the math manually?
Well, when you put what you want the land value to be, it would automatically calculate the building, but you can't just put in like a percentage amount and it would automatically calculate it that way.
If you could, do me a favor, could you just ask them if they could do that?
I'll look into it.
Yeah, it's kind of like the same as the CLR application, because we've had so many math errors to date that I think having it done this way with the CLR is just a good way to do it. Just see if they can do it. Thank you.
Yeah, I'll look into it. I know we are taking up a lot of space, so I don't know how much more space we have to fill in that area, but I'll look into it.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
It actually sounds like a field issue, but let them deal with it. Okay. Moving on to new business. Fields deadline, Mr. Sewell.
All of these, I think we've covered, we're good.
Yes, we have. Okay. Then, if nobody has anything further to bring up, we will conclude today's May 23rd, 2024 meeting of the Allegheny County Board of Appeals Assessments and Review. Thank you all for your attendance.
Wow, I can go home.
I can go back to bed.
Well, no, it's 4 o'clock.
Yeah, I know, I looked at it, it says 4 o'clock.
Is it even bathroom or what?
Oh, last thing, do they know about over there on the?
Yes, they do.
Yeah, they do.
I put 3
Walls,
requests in.
plaster falling. Did you see that back there?
So a stain fitter has to come in because that's what's above it. It's not the roofing or anything. They have to come to stop that from.
Would you guys like to have an executive session to discuss those personnel issues?
Yeah, yeah.
Later.
So the next meeting, make sure we announce that we had an executive session to discuss.
My father and I are going to
You too.
see you later.
Thanks. Thank
Here, let
you.
me open the door for you, Dad. Great kick.
I'm leaving
Yeah.
Is the video turned off or the recording turned off?
Yes.
Thanks.
You can do this, Barbara, put the agenda up there instead of us going, great, you know how we get. You ever seen our videos?
So,
You can see us.
Yeah.
Crazy.
oh, so you're saying that this one, all they had was the.
Is that right, Barbara?
Yes.
Are we